I spent time in going to school and getting my doctorate and also doing research. And through this presentation, I'm going to share with you this research, and also I'm going to share with you some videos from some of the people who have used the EMC process. And EMC stands for emotional connection. So a great title, I think, because it kind of like rings in you. So my vision is really for people to have a process, having conflict with or disengagement or team dynamics or culture. They think of EMC. Let's do EMC because emotional connection is what really gets people more connected, feeling safe with each other, improves their mental health. Everything starts with that connection. So the first thing I want to really define is what is mental health? Jack?
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm happy to be here. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I work a lot with couples. What we found out that whatever relates to couples in a romantic relationship, if we remove romantic relationship and bring it to workplace, it's the same thing between two people in the workplace. Everybody wants to be connected. Everybody wants to be heard, understood, accepted, validated. And if that part is missing, then people get stressed. So let's look at the APA, American Psychological Association, and how does they define emotional safety? And look at the foundation of this pyramid. The first thing is emotional well-being. Unfortunately, this is the last thing that every company looks at. We look at everything else, good behavioral adjustment, people in HR, leadership development. If somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to do at work, what do? A record of discussion. Okay, let me talk to you. Let me explain to you the policies, procedures, and work instructions, and how you can navigate through job, and how we have to have behaviorally based conflict resolution process. We know that behaviorally based conflict resolution process has efficacy of about 7%. That means the other 93% of people don't resolve conflicts at work. And there's only one outcome from that. Either they get more write-ups or they look at the door. And that's what's so sad. That's what's so sad, that people who have talent, people who have capability, people who have ability to create great things, and they move forward into their life and moving away from the company. So emotional well-being, we don't need to go through all of this. Most of the people in HR and leadership development, they know about this. Good behavioral adjustments, we know about that. Stephen Covey wrote The Speed of Trust. Right, here are the 13 behaviors, okay, that everybody needs to know how to succeed and let people trust you. And then 7 habits of most effective leaders, right? We all know. Everything is based on behavioral work. But when we look at psychology of the relationship, behavior is the last thing we want to look at. We want to look at emotional well-being. And the word emotion is kind of tough. Bring the emotion into corporation, it's like, oh, stay away from me, no. Okay, nobody wants to feel emotional. It's like just a fact, man, right? Mary Payson, just the facts, okay, no emotions here. But what we found through research, and in the last 10 years that Lowell did a lot of research, what we found that if there's no emotional connection, you can't get to the content of the conflict. So if somebody comes into you, and I've been running a manufacturing company since 1981. I opened many companies, I sold companies, I started many other companies. And what I found that once the process of emotional connection is incorporated, when we're attending to well-being of the person on the emotional level, I can discuss any content with these people. All the employees, they don't get triggered in the content, they don't feel that they're less than or more than or too much. Everything feels to be stabilized. If you look at the workplace, imagine you have stress at home, children, parents, in-laws, spouse, all of this. And then you come to work, and then you pile up more stress. Difficult conversation between engineering and sales, different conversation between marketing and sales, difficult conversation between accounting and engineering and the R&D team. These are difficult conversations. And how do they start? The first question is, why did you spend so much money? Why did you did not complete work on time? And I will tell you one thing. I want to bring something really important to you today. Why is the most difficult question you can ask at work? Because most of the time it requires so much cognition work that most people get triggered by the why question. So think about the why question. If you have a child standing in front of you and you say, John, why did you do this? What is the first answer the child will tell you? I don't know. Because we can't process cognitively this question when we're escalated. So the better question is, what happened? What happened that we got stuck in this place? What happened that we didn't get that sales deal? What happened that this project is delayed? There's no triggers here. So in a way, the process we're going to be talking about and the videos showing people in distress and then moving into the environment where they feel safe is a process where you change the way you interact with people and you address most important things these people need in their work environment. Am I important? That's a big question. Am I important? Does my manager, my peers, and my company care about me? That's a second question. Do I matter in this organization? Do I matter to my team? Do I matter to my coworkers? And finally, in the moments when I have most difficulty at work, who will show up for me? Who will show up for me and help me to get through the hump and get into a safe place again? These questions are immutable questions that every employee, every organization, everybody asks each other. And I'm standing here right now talking to you. I see all your faces. I tune into your faces. It's normal. That's a human survival, to tune into faces around me. And the questions I have, are you okay? Are you connected? Are you engaged? Do I matter? And that's what happens at work. So that's why this is so important, okay? Look at what happens when we actually take resources and Gallup polls and check what happens right now at work in the United States.
Almost 50% of people say that job has a negative impact on their mental health. It's hard to go to work when you have stressors at home, but it's even harder when it's also accumulated, like Jack said, in the workplace. And I remember struggling myself. You come to work, you're happy, and then suddenly you hit this wall, an invisible wall. And what is that invisible wall? Rejection. Rejection in our brain is processed in the same part of the place as physical pain. So as you can imagine, we are so attuned to the people we depend on. Even any expression, facial expression that shows rejection will trigger us in that disconnection. And we show that disengagement is actually creates a lot of negative emotions: sadness, fear, loneliness, anger, stress. It accumulates and becomes very overwhelming for people to deal with it. So they need to be able to, first of all, understand what's happening for them. And we need to be able to teach people how to articulate those stressors or emotions in a non-threatening way. And when I say non-threatening way, just like what Jack says, it's not about the question of why did you do that or why are you upset at me. It's about what's going on. I see what's happening for you. So in my book, Connected Culture, there's a really cute page that says, share impact, not feedback. Because impact actually pulls people closer. Feedback pushes people away because they become defensive, they start to argue with you, try to prove their point. So it's very important to really tune into that emotional attunement what we have.